Frustration explodes into anger and paranoia. This outburst is directly attributed to traumatized migrants caught up in the recent xenophobic violence. Their suspicions are heightened by our presence.
But maybe they might kill me or maybe do whatever, because others were cutting tires. You see, so they had burning me. You see, why are you coming here by the camp?
The angry crowd accused Daniel Kaliati, a Malawian national, of being an imposter and a troublemaker. But despite our explanation to the contrary, people are still not convinced. It's coincidental, and 4 weeks ago we found him here. That's the only thing. So there was miscommunication. So there's nothing untoward, there's nothing. A tense standoff has now ensued. Daniel is shocked by the unexpected reaction towards him. He is still trying to come to terms with a xenophobic attack on his friend Vincent Chumba.
He says they were actually arguing as to whether they should decapitate him. But some of them says, no, let's leave him. I think we've done enough. And they left him for dead.
The following day, Vincent's attackers came back to scavenge. When they found that he was still alive, they pinned him onto the floor and cut his manhood.
They used a blunt knife to try and cut my genitals. They kept on asking me, where is my money? I've never felt so much pain in my life.
A few weeks ago, amid a national outburst of xenophobic attacks, we brought you Vincent's incredible story of survival. In tonight's program, we go in search of the perpetrators. We also find out how Vincent is doing 3 months after the attack and bring you the reunion with his family, who thought that he was dead. In April this year, we met Malawian national Daniel Kaliati at the refugee camp in Chatsworth. Daniel, like countless other migrants, had sought refuge here in the wake of the xenophobic attacks that rocked the port city of Durban. It was then that we heard from him about the xenophobic attack on his friend, Vincent Chumba, which landed him in hospital.
After 2 days is when the police came. They thought that he's dead. They wrapped Vincent with a blanket. They put him in a police van, took him into Alake Khan. Then Alake Khan, like me and my friends, were thinking that Vincent is dead.
At this stage, he wasn't sure if his friend was still alive. This is when our search began. When we couldn't find him at this hospital near Chatsworth, we extended our search to a number of other hospitals in the Durban area, eventually tracking him down here at the St. Aidan's Hospital in the city. Emotions, were you shocked when you saw him?
Yeah, he was shocked. Everybody was shocked because his head was swollen and the blood was coming everywhere. All the hands swollen everywhere. It's cut. The body is cut everywhere. It was cut everywhere.
Vincent had just come out of a 2-week coma, still in a daze. But he did recognize his friends.
I'm a Malawian, but I was involved about Vincent's problem, just because of he's a black. We all are African, and I'm a Malawian, but he is not a Malawian. He's Zimbabwean. But I was feeling sorry about him. That's why I used to go to see him, to help him, to give him food, because he can't touch food. I had to take the Jewish food so that he can have food to eat. Jewish only, not food. I don't know, maybe now, maybe he can get food. But during all these past weeks, Vincent was not eating.
As he became stronger, he told us what had happened on that fateful night when his attackers forced their way into his Savannah Park home outside Durban.
15 people arrived. They started breaking down the back placards. I got scared when they started breaking down the windows. Then they started shouting, "We want you out of here."
Vincent Chumba miraculously survived the attack, having suffered multiple stab wounds to his body.
They hit me with a shambok until I couldn't feel pain anymore. Then they shouted, "They're going to kill me." And they put a knife to my throat.
In an attempt to humiliate him, his attackers then went for his manhood.
They used a blunt knife to try and cut my genitals. They kept on asking me, "Where is my money?" I've never felt so much pain in my life. I can't believe a human can do this to another human.
This chance meeting with the Zimbabwean authorities in Chatsworth, who were overseeing the repatriation process of their nationals, alerted them to the attack.
A reporter from SABC, together with a Malawian national, who is a friend to Vincent Chumba, and they came to us, and that's when we learned about this young man who was recovering in one of the mission hospitals in Durban.
When they got to him at the hospital in Durban, they were shocked.
We even asked the doctors how many knife wounds or stab wounds. They said they were too numerous, too many to count, and it was very bad. Some of the wounds were still deep, and the one gruesome act which really up to today it sends shivers in my body is when we learned that they actually dissected his organ, his male organ, removing shaft from skin. That to me was very gruesome. I could not imagine any human being doing that.
The Zimbabwean Consul General says it's a miracle that he survived a second attack.
The next day, a person was sent to look as to whether maybe they wanted to see whether he died or whatever. And then he went back to report to them, the man is still breathing. The man even asked me for some water. And another group of about 7 people came in. He says that at first there were a few elderly and young people, but the second lot, on the 2nd day, on the 3rd of April, they were mainly elderly people who came in, and they thought that he says they were actually arguing as to whether they should decapitate him.
A few days after the attack, the police arrested the alleged ringleader, Vincent's neighbor.
Had goods stolen from him, and when he complained about it, that's his allegation, when he complained about it, he was attacked that night by a group of individuals from the community who he knows. Although he knows most of them by sight, he couldn't explain to police fully, but the one person he was able to identify quite clearly is the man that was arrested.
In Savannah Park on the outskirts of Durban, we went in search of Vincent's attackers. It's hard to believe that this quiet village in KwaZulu-Natal was the site for this brutal crime. 54-year-old Mduduzi Mbele moved here from the Eastern Cape a few years back.
La ndifike ngo-2003 siphilisana kahle kakhulu nabantu bokudabuka. Mina ngiphilisana kakhulu nabantu bokudabuka. Noma ubani futhi ngiyakwazi ukuphilisana nami angazange bawuxova umoya wami. Abantu bayafana bonke. Akuthiwa lwana ngoba ephuma ngalile kude kuthiwa isilwane, akasobona isilwane simunye.
Mbele is Vincent's neighbor. But despite only being a few meters away from him, he says he didn't hear a thing on the night of the attack, even though the attack lasted for several hours and took place over 2 days.
ngezwa ngakusasa kuthiwa lokushaywa umuntu la eduze kwami mina ngangiphelile ngiya nokufa ngangifana nomuntu ofile.
Meanwhile, his wife says she did hear a noise, but was too afraid to investigate. The alleged ringleader is Mulungisi Skosana, who stays across the road from Vincent. He appeared in court charged with attempted murder and house robbery.
Uyahlala nabantu uyaphokoza nabantu. So ke angimazi ukusukeleni abantu abeshaya abantu cha. Ngazi ukuthi umuntu ophilayo nabantu.
We ventured over to Skosana's house to see if there was anybody home. At the house, we speak to his younger brother, Simon. He says his brother is innocent and his arrest has been tough on the family.
Hey, ushaqeke kakhulu. Kumanje nje kunzima kunabazali abasuka ekhaya abeza la bengasebenzi abaholi ndawo uyena umuntu bekade esupport umndeni lana. Umuntu nje ozranele icontene akhoma la ethu yadwasa ama friendships yabo. Kwawena ngasebenza even unezingane ezincane kumali ingane ezincane zihlela zisupport wamuntu.
The tension in the air is palpable as people get wind that we are looking for the perpetrators. Up the road at Skosana's tuck shop, his wife is distraught. Meanwhile, the police are concerned that charges against the suspect could be dropped.
We've impressed on him. It's very important that we get him because without a complainant, there's no case. Although we have an effected arrest, the man has appeared twice in court now and he's currently waiting his next appearance, I think, on the 28th. So we impressed on his family that we need to have him down as soon as possible for fear of having the case thrown out of court.
Back at the Chatsworth refugee camp, authorities are struggling to deal with migrants that have not yet reintegrated into communities.
We have about 600 individuals who are still sheltering there and have not been able to reintegrate following the attacks that we had in Durban in March and April. Our finding is that for the majority of the people, they would like to go back to the communities where they had resided before. And we are helping them to build the confidence that they can in fact go back and live peacefully with their communities. And that is a process. It is not easy for any individual to just pick up and go.
A month after Daniel Kaliati left the camp, we took him back for an interview and to assess the situation on the ground. But we were stopped. It appears that migrants at the camp are traumatized, unable to trust any outsiders.
These refugees, they used to act on me. I thought maybe they might kill me or maybe do whatever, because others were carrying tires. You see, so they had burned me. You see, why are you coming here by the camp? What's your name? My name is Daniel. Hey, I don't know. They say we got another Daniel here, it's not you. See, so I was confused. I was afraid. Really, I was very afraid. I was first all about myself. I thought maybe they can kill me now, those people, because they were very angry at me.
I'm telling you,
Fearing for our safety, we take cover inside this police mobile unit. The crowd, which is now growing by the minute, demands to see Daniel's identification to establish if he really is an African national.
There was a confusion with Daniel, the community leader here, of the people, and this Daniel. This Daniel was not going to talk about the camp whatsoever. It's just coincidental. And 4 weeks ago, we found him here. That's the only thing. So there was miscommunication. So there's nothing untoward, there's nothing bad.
But our explanation does not help the situation. Instead, the crowd become aggressive. The police appears powerless to act. A tense standoff has now ensued. It seems to carry on forever. We are trapped, not sure how to get out.
you have these people that we call trauma carriers. And these are people who, of course, themselves have been affected by these issues. They tend to really be intelligent. They're able to mobilize people until they reach into that heightened state of the mob psychology. Because for people to reach the stage of mob psychology, they need to, there's a certain heightened state of emotions where the group becomes bigger than me, where things that I would normally not do as an individual, I will do them because I'm anonymous.
The UN Refugee Agency says migrants at the Chatsworth camp are undergoing counseling to deal with extreme trauma.
Many of them, what they experienced was unexpected. Some of them were assaulted, some just fled because of the fear. And of course there's a lot of trauma. And they have received, through the time that they've been there, support in terms of psychosocial counseling. We have had the various departments of government coming out to do some work there.
After 3 hours, the crowd appears to calm down. Realizing that there was nothing sinister about our visit, they let us go. Daniel says he's forgiven the migrants at the camp for the unnecessary turmoil that they put him through. His main concern is for Vincent.
I left home, I went to Arakekan to see him. When I went to Arakekan, I found that he was not there. When I asked, he said that he was discharged.
Were you disappointed that he left without...
I was very disappointed because they never, I didn't know. He just left without telling me that he is now discharged. And I don't know now where he is at the moment.
Back in Johannesburg at the Zimbabwean consulate, we find out how Vincent is doing. Ever since we informed them of the attack in April this year, they've been actively involved in his recovery and ensuring that justice prevails.
We are pushing SABC, the detectives in Chatsworth. We are working with them. What Vincent did not feel, he wasn't feeling too safe going by himself without the support of the consulate. So what we've done is we have agreed with the Chatsworth police station that whatever happens has to be done through the consulate. So they will pick him up from the consulate. We will have guarantees from them that he will be under his protection.
But first, Vincent has to be well enough before he can assist the police with the investigation.
He's checked himself out of hospital and he's with his family in Germiston, and the indication is that they say he's too ill to travel.
We travel to Limpopo to meet Vincent's father. 48-year-old Timothy Mutikeri settled here when he migrated from Zimbabwe a few years back. We were hoping to speak to Vincent, but he says his son is not yet ready.
His emotions. He seemed to be traumatized. Even right now, I slept with him on my bed. At night, he'll be jerking, like maybe it will be recycling into his head, right? He'll be jerking like I normally ask him, are you feeling cold? He said, no, but he'll be shivering. Of which it seems he will be seeing the scene recoming.
Mr. Mutikeri only heard recently about his son's attack. This is when Specialist Simon published the story. Afterwards, the story was picked up by the Zimbabwean media.
I quickly go to the internet and I Googled, and then I also saw the picture and I said, really, this is my son. And it hurt.
How did you feel?
I feel like I could drop dead, because the way the picture was showing, it was showing that the person, though he's like the way he was, he could die anytime. So I felt so bad.
This is when he united with Vincent, who he had not heard from in a while.
For a year, he was quiet. Maybe things were not working for him. I think that's the reason. because I didn't ask him, since he's not in a good state, to say, why were you not communicating?
The recent reunion with his family has assisted him with his recovery.
He's a very positive young man. We are very happy about his state of mind as of now. The fact that he has been reunited with his family, he had lost hope of even seeing his wife and child. They managed eventually to unite with him. And I think that has built his psyche. You know, psychologically is now upbeat.
This boy is 2 years now.
But what is troubling Vincent most is if he'll be able to have sex with his partner.
I think that's one of the things that was worrying him most. Even now, I think it is the issue of the manhood. You know, a man is a man when the manhood is in good state. Though he is going for that surgery, we are not sure.
Meanwhile, the Consul General says doctors at the Durban hospital where Vincent will undergo reconstructive surgery have assured him that Vincent's manhood will be restored.
They said he will recover. He was fortunate, that was it said, that the tissues were still alive when the police brought him in to RK Khan Hospital. And they are working on him. He is due to go back for skin and some graft surgery on his manhood and other parts of the body which were filled with lacerations from stab wounds and the machetes, I think that they were using.
I think the task of recovery for victims of this violence, then when your life has been threatened, just dealing with issues of anxiety, some of the people will say, I am even not able to sleep anymore. Issues of short temper. And what happens when you've been traumatized is that you try to spend your psychological energy moving between this extreme feeling of intrusion, because you experience intrusive symptoms. People will tell you that I keep on thinking about this thing over and over as these people are coming.
The Consul General says the planned xenophobic attack was meant to humiliate and inflict maximum torture.
They actually targeted his house. Amongst other houses, it was not a random crime. It was indeed an act of xenophobia, and unfortunately, the people who perpetrated it felt that they wanted to drive him and to drive a message, and if they really wanted to just remove the organ, they should have. But the fact that they actually dissected it meant that they meant to impinge maximum torture on the gentleman. If, for example, he survived, they felt maybe he would never venture into looking for their women again.
Meanwhile, it appears that for now, calm has returned to Durban, where only 3 months ago, migrants and locals fought running battles. Despite all Vincent's friend Daniel has been through, he has decided to stay on in South Africa and wants to restart his business as a hawker, selling second-hand clothes on the streets of the city.